distinct honor to welcome each of you today for this special occasion, the promotion of Senior Master Sergeant Shannon Lewis to Chief Master Sergeant. Please stand for the entrance of the official party and remain standing for the singing of our national anthem and the invocation by the 96th Medical Group Chaplain Captain Matthew Dobbins.
I invite you to pray with me. Gracious God, we give you thanks for today. We give you thanks for the life that you have given us and the community with which you surround and support us. We give you thanks for Senior Master Sergeant Shannon Lewis. We are thankful for her dedication and hard work with which she has served. We're thankful for all of the careers and lives that are better because of the countless hours of mentorship and care. As we pause today to mark her achievement and her promotion to Chief Master Sergeant, we ask for your blessings. Gracious God, stir up in Chief Master Sergeant Shannon Lewis the spirit of wisdom, the spirit of compassion and care, and the spirit of leadership. May her life and leadership continue to make the Medical Support Squadron, the Medical Group, and the Air Force a better place to serve and a better place to be. May she diligently care for the people in her squadron, and may her example inspire our own dedication and work. Amen.
The presiding officer of today's ceremony, the Commander, 96th Medical Support Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Leanna Vogel. Today's guest of honor, Senior Master Sergeant Shannon Lewis, accompanied by her daughter, Abigail, her boyfriend, Timothy Bailey, her father and stepmom, Tony and Jenny Steele, sister and brother-in-law, Tanya and Aaron Beck, and her sister, Stephanie Baker, accompanied by her boyfriend, Anthony. Additionally, Senior Master Sergeant Lewis is joined today by her nieces and nephews, Caleb, Andrea, Chase, Jackson, Annabelle, and Mackenzie. We are pleased to have these members of Team Eglin in attendance today. The Superintendent, 96th Medical Group, Chief Master Sergeant Stephen Baker. Retired Chief Master Sergeant Carl Day. We would also like to welcome all other commanders, chiefs, first sergeants, co-workers, and friends to this most joyous occasion. Today we gather to celebrate Senior Master Sergeant Shannon Lewis's promotion to the highest rank bestowed upon an enlisted airman, the rank of Chief Master Sergeant. Retired Chief Master Sergeant Carl Day will now recite the history of the Chief Master Sergeant rank.
The rank of Chief Master Sergeant was established by Congress in 1958 with a ceiling set at 1% of the enlisted force. In December 1959, 1,700 senior master sergeants were the first to be promoted to this new grade. These airmen were leaders who possessed the unique talents and displayed the personal characteristics required to lead and manage programs. Senior Master Sergeant Lewis has demonstrated the potential for increased responsibility and possesses the attributes needed to be a chief. She is no longer known as Sergeant Lewis, but carries the distinguished term of address known as Chief. Chiefs are people who cannot be bought. Their words is their bond. Possessing opinions and a will, they will not lose their individuality in a crowd. Honest in small things as in great ones. They make no compromise when something is wrong and remain true to their friends through good rapport and evil rapport, in adversity as well as prosperity. They are not ashamed and or afraid to stand for the truth when it's unpopular and can say no with emphasis, although the entire world is saying yes. There are over 2,600 Chief Master Sergeants serving on active duty. Today, we add one more. All right.
I would like to ask Lieutenant Colonel Vogel to come forward and say a few words.
So first, let me say how excited I am that we actually get to have an Air Force ceremony. That I did not know how much I missed it until I walked into this room full of people. And I am very grateful that we have the occasion to do this Air Force ceremony to promote Senior Master Sergeant Shannon Lewis to Chief. So I did not know, and so I'm gonna ad lib. A lot of folks, everybody in this room who knows me at least a little bit knows that, number one, I kinda like to talk, but number two, I'm gonna go off script, most likely. So when I walked in here, so my focus has been, what do we do? What do we do? We take care of her, how do we do this? And my requirement was, when she got here 2 months ago, she's only been here 2 months, was you have to have a ceremony. My minimum requirement is I will be there to witness, and you will be there to promote. And whoever else is in attendance, that's up to her. The location, what we wear, all up to her. The important thing is that we recognize this milestone in her career. So I'm gonna say it probably 30 times while I'm up here. I'm just so excited to be able to have this opportunity to honor her. So I skipped my welcomes. So I'm gonna backtrack a little bit in my excitement, kind of go off script. But to thank our MDSS team for putting this together, because they took my directive that we will have a ceremony and Senior Master Sergeant Lewis's vision of what her promotion ceremony is gonna look like and put this together. They took that and ran with it. And I am so pleased that this is our first ceremony since I've been here. And I'd like to thank Chief Baker for being here, Chief Retired Day for being here, our sister squadron representatives for being here, Team MDSS and Med Group folks, but most importantly, this family over here. What an honor. Shannon said that her family's never, ever got to experience any of the milestones, the events in her career. It's like, well, this is the perfect opportunity, and I think you are responsible for making this happen. So that said, I asked Shannon to put together, mind you, she's been here 2 months. I'm gonna talk at the end of what she's done in those 2 months, but I asked her because I did not have the privilege of knowing her through the years of her career to put together something, things that were important to her, because what I want to do is to communicate the things that she has accomplished over those years that have brought her to the point that she's at today. So if you'll indulge me, she did exactly what I asked in true fashion to almost Chief Lewis style. I didn't ask for bullets, I asked for a narrative. And I'm going to read some of these things to you, and I'm going to focus on the family because you need to know what all she has accomplished. And you've been with her through all of these years where we have just met her, and we're going to be seeing what she does in the future. I want to take some time to capture what she's done in the past to bring her to today. All right, so I'm going to read some of this. As an airman first class at Elmendorf Air Force Base, Alaska, 1 week, airman, mind you, after being assigned to the dining facility, she was thrust into the shift leader position as an airman with 60% manning shortage due to a mass deployment. And she became the go-to person very quickly. Food presentation and patron accessibility increased 95%, with customer satisfaction going through the roof. Efforts led to being recognized as the 354th Fighter Wing Commander Iceman Salutes Program for superior performance and selected for Services Airman of the Quarter. That's right out of the chute. I mean, she set the tone for the rest of her career right out of the chute. Next, as NCO of reenlistments and extensions at McChord Air Force Base, she supported 4,010 active duty with career enhancements and pay issues, and guaranteed 100% contract standards were in place with $1.3 million bonuses to give. Her processes were lauded as AFPC, that's like our personnel headquarters, as best in the Air Force. So airman to NCO, she is continuing that trend. She also deployed as an NCO to Africa, and she tracked more than 600 decorations. So for family, that is, when you're in a deployed location, you're only there for a handful of time. And 4 months? 4 months. In that 4-month period of time, she took care of more than 600 airmen to make sure before they left that theater, they had the decorations in their hands. And she worked with the command teams to make sure that happened so they could leave with the honors that they earned while they were deployed. So these efforts, along with some other things, led her, so she also, she was nominated for the Military Citizen of the Year and coined by the Chairman, Joint Chiefs of Staff for efforts contributing to the global war on terrorism and the Combined Joint Task Force Horn of Africa mission. So in her deployed environment, she continued to set the standard. She continued to excel. And then she moved on to readiness at Ramstein. We were actually there together and just found out Chief Day was there with us. So as the flight chief, I said flight commander, flight chief, medical readiness at Ramstein, she supported the Group Control Center for Yemen non-combatant evacuation operations, we know it as NEOs, where 19 airmen were activated and secured and evacuated 78 civilians in 8 hours. The team sourced a joint tasker to support Liberian war recovery and medical response, to which 200 patients were cared for, and conducted field training for 45 international medics. I think you're starting to see a continued trend throughout this young lady's career. So all of these efforts, while she was in this position, she ranked number 3 out of 326 master sergeants. That is quite the feat. And she won the senior NCO of the quarter at the wing level. From there, she moved to Scott Air Force Base, where she did medical and air medical evacuation plans and readiness. And man, the trends just continued. They executed United States Transcom Joint Patient Movement Policy, which consisted of $25 million of operational maintenance dollars Organized, trained, and equipped dollars, 11 medical groups, 4 active duty air medical evacuation squadrons, 2.4 thousand medics, and 68 unit type codes, which is our deployable teams. She ended up being coined by the Secretary of the Air Force, that's high up there, for her role while she was at Scott for supporting the COVID efforts. So I'm skipping some of this just in the interest of time, but I could stand up here probably for 2 hours and talk about all of the accomplishments that she has under her belt over the past career. How many years have you been in?
21.
21 years. Some of the worth noting accomplishments: she co-led an AE, which is Air Medical Evacuation Strategic Review. She's also participated in DISCA, Hurricane Operations. DISCA is Defense Support to Civilian Authorities. And that's where the military goes and helps the civilian community. And the list goes on. And that's before she got here. Since she's been here, so I remind you, she got here in January. And this woman hit the ground running. And so she scheduled immersion briefs. She got right into the squadron. She started meeting people. She started integrating. And what was amazing to me is she took the skill set that she learned from other career fields that she's held. So if you were tracking, she was services, then she was a personnelist, and she cross-trained to be a 4AO, which is a Health Services Administration. So she is an expert in several fields that she has figured out a way to integrate that and help this squadron and the med group. And one of the notable things that was easy for me to pick up right away, our CSS is undermanned and overworked because they service the entire med group, and they've had some personnel losses in recent months. She came in, she said, well, this is what we're gonna do, and just like targeted the things to get that team moving in the right direction despite their limited resources. And the entire med group will benefit from the efforts that she's already put forth in the last 2 months. So on a personal note, when I found out that I was getting Chief Select Shannon Lewis, what we do in the Air Force is we start making calls. Hey, you look at a CERF, you say, oh, you were there this time and that time. So found out that she was at USAFE the same time I was. I was at headquarters, she was at the med group. And her boss worked for me eventually. He came over, and so I texted him. His name's Jason Carter. I said, hey Jason, what can you tell me about Shannon Lewis? And so he's retired, and we don't communicate that often, but he's Johnny on the spot. As soon as I send this text message, he responds to me, and he said, I have never worked with a better airman. You are going to love her. And this is somebody that I value their recommendation. I value what he has to say. And he went on, and I knew that we were getting a quality person from that very first message, my intel. And I will tell you, she has not proven that wrong. Just as a side note, where we've talked about some of her accomplishments, I've talked about what I learned about her before she got here. So let me tell you a little bit about her taking care of our people. So she is a very creative person. She's already made time for making little things for the personnel. She's like, come on ma'am, let's go give this out. And she has, I'm gonna ruin the surprise if it's a surprise.
It's not a surprise.
She made these cute little baskets, little Easter kits that we didn't have time to hand out yesterday, so we will be walking around next week. And so she's got this personal touch that she is also bringing to the squadron. And in this time of COVID, we've been missing that interaction. We've been missing our ability to have these ceremonies. we have been trying to figure out how to increase the morale of our folks, because we can't do the things that we're used to doing. We're used to getting together in groups. We're used to taking some time off and having a morale event. And we have not been able to do that in more than a year, right about a year. And she is figuring out a way to bring a little bit of that back into the squadron. And so I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna close and say, I could not be happier that Chief Select Shannon Lewis has not only joined the team, but that we also get to promote her to Chief today. So with that, I think we're ready. Publish the order.
Attention to orders. The President of the United States has placed special trust in the patriotism, integrity, and abilities of Senior Master Sergeant Shannon Lewis. In view of these special qualities and her demonstrated potential to serve in the highest enlisted grade, Senior Master Sergeant Shannon Lewis is promoted to Chief Master Sergeant effective 1 April 2021 by order of the Secretary of the Air Force. At the request of Chief Lewis, her stripes will be tacked on by her daughter, Abigail.
I'm gonna need to see that stripe too.
Okay.
Chief Baker will now administer the Chief's charge.
As Colonel Vogel said, your dedication and loyalty to the ideals and traditions of the United States Air Force have set you apart from your peers. Your progress through the enlisted ranks has proven your professionalism, your promotion carries with it greater responsibility, and you have already proven you are capable of handling that responsibility. Enlisted, if you could stand. Chief Lewis. It's just Chief now. You have lost your last name, your first name. You will turn around every time it says Chief, and all of us do it. You are charged to uphold the traditions of military life and to continue serving our country with honor. You are charged to support the officers and the armed forces of the United States, ensuring their orders are carried out and that compliance to regulation is the standard. You are charged with setting the highest example of excellence both on and off duty, and providing guidance and leadership to enlisted personnel, treating them with fairness and dignity. Chief Lewis, do you accept these charges?
I do.
Here in the next couple of days, you gotta go get a new ID card. When they come out to the waiting area, don't be like me. The gentleman came out and yelled, Chief, 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 and I was looking around like, who in the hell is he talking to? And I forgot that it was me they were talking to. So congratulations and enjoy, and look in the mirror a few times to get used to that look, and congratulations again.
Thank you, Chief Baker. Chief Lewis, the floor is yours.
All right. So I want to thank everyone for coming out. I really do appreciate all of the support that I've gotten over the years. I'm not looking that way. I will cry. So I'll look over here. I'll come back to you guys. Thank you everyone who took the time out to come out and see this. It's been a long time for a promotion. So I thought it was great that we started to trickle this back into the squadron and into the group. So I hope you guys enjoy the ceremony as much as I do. I'm honored and humbled to be up here. So I was asked already to speak about how do you become a chief? Ooh. So I will say every journey that everyone has is different, right? No one's gonna follow in the same footsteps that I followed in. We're gonna have different leaders, you're gonna meet different people. So everything that you do will be different. So there is no one right way to make chief. But it's what you do with those interactions It's what you do as a leader, as a follower. It's what you do, your actions, your reactions, your emotions, everything, every interaction, everything comes down to how you accept it, how you learn from it, how you grow from it. Do you let it hold you back, or do you take it and learn from your mistakes and thrive? That's really what it is. I have a friend, she created this new clothing line. It's called the Millionaire Way. And what it is a goal-getter who strives with the hand that they were dealt. So I think that is a phenomenal thing to have out there. You are going to do your best with what you were given. That's all you can do. So one thing about the Air Force is, well, military in general, is diversity, right? We all come from different backgrounds, so learn from each other. Grow from each other. It's not right to have everybody be exactly the same. So you want to take that opportunity and learn from people who are international, from New York, from California, and everywhere in between. I've learned so much throughout my time. A few things, tips, I guess you would say, to go set goals. Let people know what your goals are and let them help you reach your goals. But no, as with everything, we change. We change ourselves, we grow, the Air Force changes, the society changes. So with that, your goals may change. But have people there, set goals for yourself, and it's okay to not reach them, but readdress and figure out what's your next goal. What is it going to be? My goal was to make chief. I had people who helped me along the way. It was not me. I didn't do this myself. It was my teams, my supervisors, everybody around me. I couldn't have done this alone. And neither should you if you choose to make chief. Second, be a good follower. We're always talking about being good leaders, but you also have to be a good follower. Because if you think about it, we all have to follow someone. So I follow Colonel Vogel. Colonel Vogel follows the group. The group follows the wing. So we have to learn our roles. We have to be good followers in order to be those good leaders. And last is take care of you. Take care of yourself emotionally, spiritually, physically, but take care of others as well. Help them reach their goals. Take care of the mission, your emotional intelligence. Just grow. But above all, be kind, be humble, treat people fairly. They always say the golden rule, right? Treat others as they want to be treated, but take it one step further and do the platinum rule and treat others how they want to be treated. But with that too, we have our core values in there, and I want to make sure we always come back around to that of integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. For me, when I came in, I took those, they instilled those into me, I grew and I carried those along. I try to always strive to do the right thing. I always try and do my best. Sometimes I do a little bit too much service before self, and my family pays a little bit for that, but find that balance, remember that. But last thing I'll want to say with that is our differences make us stronger, but our values bring us together as one team. So with that, I want to thank Sergeant Schaefer, Sergeant Phillips, Sergeant Thomas, Airman for putting this together, Airman Washington for singing. That was beautiful. Thank you. That was amazing. And standing up there was even better. Sergeant Holmquist, we were stationed together at Seymour Johnson, and I was like, hey, I know you. Can you come help me out and narrate? She also is a really good singer, so if you need anybody else to do national anthems for you, she's hiding back there. Colonel Vogel, ma'am, thank you for all the kind words, and we have lots of fun left to be had in the next year before you leave. Chief Baker, thank you. Chief Day. Okay. I'm gonna cry. I tried not to. Thank you, Tim, for putting all this together. Thank you, Abby. My little mini-me, which she's as tall as me. Dad, for having me come into the Air Force. Oh, I'm sorry. Jenny, my crafting skills, Colonel Vogel, come from my stepmom, Jenny. Yeah, she is where I get that from. My organization and everything, that comes from both of them, but yes. Tanya. Ooh. My sister, Tanya, I call and vent to her so much, so thank you. Steffi, always there. Andrea and Chase, they left, but thank you for coming and staying with me and being there. Just thank you, everyone. I couldn't have been here today without them and without others in the past, so, okay. Thank you.
Go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Here they come, soon to meet our thunder. Adam boys, give her the gun. Down we dive, spouting our flames from under. Off with one hell of a roar. We live in fame and go down in flames. Hey, nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force.
Chief Lewis and her family in the back for a reception. Thank you for attending today's ceremony and have a great Air Force Day.
Everybody's coming up.
I'm about here. You're going to have to pick it up. This is awesome. Everything is going to be